Hello, everyone. Jim Warren here, President of Lordship Improvement Association. Hopefully, this will be our first and last COVID-19 related BOG meeting. We just thought, in spirit of social distancing, we wouldn't hold a meeting at a facility. So with that being said, let me introduce our Board of Governors. I'll start with Kevin Reagan, Vice President.
Hello, Jim.
Hello, Kevin. Susan Burge, our Treasurer.
Thank you, Jim, and hello, everyone.
Next will be Hans Draker, our Secretary.
Good evening.
And let's see, we have Tom Halverson.
Hello, everyone.
The historian. And last but not least, Dennis Tomaszek, our Burgess.
Hi, everyone.
I don't think I missed anyone.
Christine.
I'm not on the board. I'm just Chair of Environmental and Education. Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
Well, hello anyways. Welcome.
So I'm going to just briefly touch on a couple projects that I was involved with. We installed a bicycle rack and three new benches. We're in the process of securing the last bench.
Fourth and final.
This will excuse me. This will be our last bench. The board believes we've reached the saturation point. And let's see what else we accomplished. We brushed out the slope of the bluffs with some of the larger trees that needed to be done. And we intend to do a cutting along the top edge before the end of the summer. I don't want to steal anybody else's thunder, so I am going to hand it over to Sue Burge for a treasurer's report.
Yes, thank you, Jim. This is the part of the meeting that's a little bit dry. It's all about numbers, but we want you to know how important we take our fiduciary responsibility to the many, many contributions that our neighbors, our Lordship residents, give Lordship Improvement Association during our membership drive and to the year. So I've asked to share the screen, and the first thing I'm going to show you is our annual financial report. So bear with me as I go through it rather briefly, but as thoroughly as I can. When we left off last year, and by that I mean June 30th of 2018, we had a balance of $12,569. We did really well last year in terms of our income. We had $22,803, but I want you to look at where we got the money. That included 140 households of about 1,300 who contributed, some as a supporter, some as a member, some as Russian Beach, a lighthouse, and the President's Club. We also had some weddings and we had some benches. If someone sponsors a bench, they pay for it, and that gives them the right of sponsorship. So let's look at how we spent that money. Our annual membership drive, in the previous year, we had actually paid for the printing of this, but this past year, we paid for the mailing. By that, I mean the actual cost to mail to every household in Lordship. Aquarium water, this is the water that, thanks to Jim Warren, we had set up at the Bluffs. You've probably seen the beautiful gardens at Captain's Kidd Bluff. This is for the watering of that area. There's approximately 8 gardens throughout Lordship that the Beautification Committee oversees. They not only oversee in warm weather, but in spring and in fall. They're seasonal, they're beautiful. All this is done by volunteers, coordinated by Kevin Regan. However, we do pay for the materials, and that is usually seasonal flowers with some mulch. And so that's the $2,079. Last year, we spent a good bit of money on the flailing at the Bluffs. we became aware that the growth, the trees and the high shrubs were beginning to obstruct the view of the Lordship residents, of all the people that drive by Park Boulevard to actually appreciate and take a look at the water. So we spent a good bit of money flailing, that is to say, cutting down as many high trees and bushes as was feasible. And that's a commitment that we have going forward. Additionally, that main path maintenance and the lawn mowing of the bluff, you know, in the years past, the good neighbors on Park Boulevard and at the end of Lordship Road, they would do all the mowing. And we felt that was our responsibility. We are the shepherds of the bluff. The bluffs are held in trustees with our oversight. So we took on the mowing, and that is the cost for the maintenance on the bluff, again, so it doesn't get overgrown, grown in the main path, but additionally the mowing. It's mowed on a weekly basis. The post office box is a fixed expense. There's nothing we can do about it. It's $206. Again, with our insurance, we are responsible for the bluffs, and therefore we have very good insurance to protect us for any untoward circumstances. Now the benches and the install, the 7,219. Remember we talked about in our income, there was the money for the benches. So that was in and now it's out. So you have to consider that that money, you know, wasn't used for other purposes, very specifically for the benches. Miscellaneous might be stamps and envelopes, supplies, things, you know, that Hans does in terms of maintaining the fence down at the bluffs, odds and ends, and that came to about $200. Christine had a Blue Moon Raptors program. That was amazing. And that was $300 we paid and well worth the money. The plaque at Kids Bluff, that was our attempt of Board of Governors and neighbors and Lordship to honor Richard Dietrichson. He stepped down from the board, although we consider him emeritus. But we wanted a plaque. And again, under Kevin Regan's leadership, with the board approval and participation, we created what we think is a really appropriate way to honor Richard. He's done so much for the town of Stratford and importantly, Lordship. Again, probably a one-time expense of the $1,200 or so. The lighthouse sculpture, this was a sculpture that was part of an initiative by the town of Stratford. We were able to get one of the lighthouses for Ackley Park, and over time it needed repair, so it went into Kevin Regan's garage, and a couple of wonderful women, neighbors, worked through the winter and restored it, and it's back out. So it cost a few bucks in paint and this and that. We did return a security deposit for a wedding. So again, money in, money back out. So what we committed about 2 years ago, we actually passed, we voted on that we were really going to try to have $7,000 in our treasury at all time. You know, we're waterfront property. We have a huge responsibility with the bluffs and the path maintenance and the gardens that we have invested in over the years. So we did a good job last year. We had some big expenses, but thanks to the contributions of the residents, we were able to cover it and maintain our $7,000 balance. So let me tell you what we are projecting for the upcoming year. Bear with me as I try to get in here. Okay, here is our projected budget. We're calling this fiscal year 21 budget, and it's based very much on the last year, but taking in consideration some of those one-time charges. Our annual membership drive, again, this is taking into consideration the brochure and the mailing. It's about $1,500. That goes out to our 1,300 plus homes in Lordship. A fixed, pretty much fixed cost is the Aquarium Water Company for that Bluffs water. Our gardens, Kevin works hard and his beautification committee to make sure they're beautiful, but is very mindful of expenses. We were a little tiny bit more last year. We're looking at about 2,000 this year. We're looking at continuing our efforts toward the flailing. We don't want to let this get out of hand and have it be more expensive. We don't want to defer that maintenance. We want to stay on top of it. What we've voted on recently is to widen the path of the bluffs. I mean, of the maintenance trail. It was too narrow. The ticks this year were particularly bad. So we've approved more money going forward for that main path maintenance. We think it's going to be better for our residents as well as environmentally. Again, fixed cost, you're pretty much $2,000 for the season. They go from the spring all through the summer, right through the fall, mowing our lawn. Post office box, again, a fixed charge. A web fee, again, a fixed charge of $65. Typically, we give a $100 charge to the volunteer fire department ad. Not only is it being a good neighbor, but it's an opportunity to get our information out to our Lordship community. Again, a fixed charge, our insurance. And we are committed to continue our work in replenishing, replacing the trees that no longer exist in Lordship. This is not only important for beautification, it's important for environment, it's important for streetscape, it's important for the value of our homes. So we will continue our commitment if a tree has been lost to try to replace it. Working with the town of Stratford certainly, and Kevin Regan, our horticulturalist, who will identify the proper species. Office supplies, again, about $125. So we're looking at our projected budget of about 15,000 plus. Let me say that to date, we have 152 households this year who have contributed to our membership drive. And to date, we have $12,742 that have come in specifically for this year. We will continue our efforts to have more of our neighbors contribute. We will need more money in order to execute and implement our budget. But all in all, we're in really sound financial state. We have a good reserve. We are extremely conservative. Again, take very seriously our fiduciary responsibility. Anybody having any questions, don't hesitate to call me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I move to accept the report and budget.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good job.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good job, Sue.
Thank you,
Okay,
guys.
next we're going to briefly discuss communications, and we have our new guru, John Florian. John, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you
Or
so
did I
much.
put you on the spot?
I appreciate working with you all and meeting you all. In fact, this is the first time I've seen some people without their masks on. So it's pretty interesting to see your face. I'm learning the website, and I'm going to quickly pull it up here. I'm learning how to do things. And one of my point is, I'm like to center on a theme that says, oh, can you see this? No, maybe you can't see this. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to get rid of it.
I can't.
Okay, I didn't do the share screen. Here we go. I do this all the time in my business and neglected to do it here. Here we go. Up in the top right-hand corner, you see join your neighbors. I want to get a theme of getting people to come in and help us to preserve and enrich this fabulous waterfront community. So a lot of links are going to be go to the Join Us page, become a member. And I'm working on new tabs. I want to create a news blog, update that. And I'm going to create separate tabs for parks and environmental conservation, things like that. Things for us to think about in the future. We might want to set up a gift shop. You know, we can sell t-shirts, hats, mugs, things like with our logo. And people just order online. They get fulfillments online. We don't have to do anything with that. So that could be interesting. And if we get a community, maybe a sponsor, we could have their logos on here. There's all kinds of things we can do. Also, I want to do an events tabs. And speaking of events, I'm happy to do Zoom stuff. You know, if you want to go to a monthly Zoom meeting on history or gardening or landscaping or anything like that, we could do that. That'd be a lot of fun. So I'm enjoying working on this. And if you have any ideas anytime, please let me know. Any suggestions, and I look forward to working with you on it all.
Well, thanks. And it's a breath of fresh air to have someone who's so enthusiastic and knows so much about this.
It's great, John. Thank you for stepping up and helping out.
My pleasure.
Okay, next on the agenda will be environment and education. We're going to start with the chair, Christine Griffin.
Hi.
Thank you for
Yes,
coming,
I am
Christine.
at this point.
Is it
oh,
coming or attending?
What's that?
Is it attending? I guess attending the meeting.
Right.
You didn't really come. You didn't come there. So, anyways.
Attending the meeting. You know, according to our the LIA's mission statement, our goal is to protect and improve our open space areas, and we do that through conservation, education, and environmental projects. So our latest one that we did was the Raptor program that you were so nice enough to pay for. The others that we've had in the past, we try not to have any charges for you. The programs are always free. And basically what it comes down to is we're trying to leave our environment better than we found it. So I tried to have at least 4 programs a year. The first one that we had this February was the Raptor program, where we had barred owls, we had eastern screech owls, we had the American kestrel, we had, let me see what else, we had the broadwing hawks, and many of these birds, because we live in this unique area where we have a lot of migratory birds and pollinators, it was something that was important to educate the public. It is a truly unique environment. So everybody seemed to enjoy that. We had more than 100 people participate, and it was rather exciting. And then COVID hit. So our next program was our horticulturist Lee Gannon, who was coming in to share new products and plants. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. So we didn't learn new ideas to open our gardens and close our gardens. So hopefully, when all this is over, we might have him back again. We also had Andy Paneros, who shared his knowledge as a NASA representative to provide telescopes to educate the public on satellites that NASA is working with on projects like the Mars program, what else did we have with that? We had the constellations, we had the planets, things we've done in the past, which is very nice on an evening. First a presentation, and then we go out in the field and actually view that. But unfortunately, that was canceled as well. So for next year, we hope to continue many of these projects. And environmentally, it's been rather sad because the only thing we were able to accomplish was add 4 rows of daffodils. And as you know, that's our town flower. And we're very happy to donate every year plants to the gardeners in Lordship so that everybody can enjoy it. And hopefully that happened this year in March when everybody walked by, because they're truly a unique species that has so many engineering aspects to it. So I hope people enjoyed it. We also in the past had biologists come and collect our seeds. We had lectures from conservationists regarding our marsh areas. And as you know, we're right next to the most viable marsh in the whole state of Connecticut, the Great Salt Meadow Marsh. And it's so important because it holds 10 times its size in water. And hopefully the winds that are coming and the storms that are coming won't affect us that much. In the past, we've also entered the beach plum area, and we try to trim most of it because, as you know, the flowers in the springtime benefit all of the pollinators, and then the fruit at the end of August and September benefits the habitats and the animals that migrate through the area. So we've had a few things that we've planned and we hope to continue, but our goal is basically education. And that is always to leave the environment better than you found it. So thank you very much for listening, and I'm hoping next year we will have 4 more new projects. We'd like to introduce beekeeping and have local representatives come to us, but it's always something to help others. We also write letters and contact Congress people, and if you've noticed leaving Lordship on the Burma Road, you will see new turtle signs, and there's one on Oak Bluff as well. These are our 3rd signs. I'm sorry, this is my cat coming over. These are much taller. The last 2 that were placed were stolen. So we're hoping these are large enough and that nobody will take them away. So that's what we've been able to do this year. Thank you for letting me share that.
Thank you, Christine. Okay, next, beautification. Vice President Kevin Reagan.
Thank you, Jim. I have actually 4 pages of typed up notes here, to which all of you have already covered 3 pages. So all of you have been very thorough, but I do have a few things I'd like to go over with you. Once again, in early February, LIA completed a significant tree clearing project on Russian Beach. We outsourced the work to a contractor to cut and remove invasive trees blocking the water views along Russian Beach. This project was large in scale and required oversight from LIA, as we emphasized the importance of the ground to be rock hard frozen. And this was a time-sensitive project. To start and finish quickly was the objective to minimize the impact from heavy trucks and wood chippers and equipment in terms of access. The LIA Board of Governors accepted competitive bids for review for this project, as budget limitations remain a significant factor. So that was the early part of February. In March, the beautification committee members gathered to discuss how to greater promote LIA. The Board of Governors recognized that our membership needs to grow. Overwhelming feedback was discussed to greater promote LIA, with many ideas, beginning with to encourage, invite, display, and welcome the art community to our Lordship community. We would hope that interaction with artists and community could foster the potential for outdoor class workshops. Children perhaps may find this fascinating. We also believe to greater utilize social media outlets will greater promote LIA as well. The beginning of April, the beautification committee planted cool weather pansies throughout many of the designated garden areas. Also in early April, the LIA arranged a wonderful partnership with the Lordship Deli and Lighthouse Pizza by way of adding curb appeal to the storefront. The beautification committee installed window planters and will continue to plant seasonal flowers. Mr. Bo Denzel has agreed to purchase the flowers, and LIA will volunteer their time to plant flowers and water them. This establishment and location has a wonderful community history, by the way. In the beginning of June, it is this time of the year where many activities remain ongoing. Examples would include planting flowers, the lawn mowing at the bluffs, and the maintenance to the main path at Russian Beach. The garden captains planted all summer long flowers throughout their designated garden areas. The volunteer time for so many to contribute remains amazing. I'd like to introduce the garden captains, at least their names. We have Charlie, Emily, Janet B, Janet L, Linda, Marianne, and of myself. And what I would like to do in terms of to recognize them is to get a picture of them in front of their gardens this year, and then we can get that up on our web. I'm sure they would appreciate that. To continue with June, LIA's tree planting initiative remains ongoing. In June, we planted a maple tree on the Greenway at Victoria Lawn. Most likely this upcoming fall season, additional trees will be planted. With regard to the Russian Beach main path maintenance, and to include the lawn mowing, what's important to know is that LIA does not have the volunteer resources anymore to achieve the consistent desired results pertaining to Russian Beach maintenance. So the cost of outsourcing the landscape maintenance will remain every year. This expense would suggest the importance to increase and grow our membership. In July, the Russian Beach scope of work would expand to include to widen the trail access to 12 feet. This summer, the overpopulation of ticks throughout Russian Beach was a major concern. The Board of Governors remains proactive to address the concerns from residents and agreed to follow through with an appropriate course of action to widen the trails. What's noteworthy too is we had a discussion and it was unanimous to refrain from any spray applications. As a course of action, we decided to widen the trail. So those are just a few things, from a beautification perspective. So hopefully I didn't go over 5 minutes. So I think that I conclude with my presentation.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you, Kevin. Next on our agenda is Tom excuse me, Tom Halvers, our historian, who's going to give us an update on what he's been working on. Tom, podium is yours.
Thank you, Jim. Hello, everyone. I'm Tom Halverson. I'm the Lordship historian. A few years ago, the LIA partnered with our Lady of Peace to create or start creating a Lordship History Center in the old school, which is now the Parish Center. Project's been kind of on hold because we haven't had a lot of help and plus the COVID. We do have an opportunity. The Stratford Veterans Committee is putting in a Veterans Museum up at Booth Park. In addition to that, they want to put a Lordship Veterans Museum or Center at Our Lady of Peace School and work with us to tie it in with the history of Lordship. So they've got funding and they're excited to be working with us on it. So once everything clears, we'll probably be getting help, and we're going to be looking for volunteers. And also, in the long run, we probably want to start creating like a Lordship History Society. We can meet and do lectures and collect information, things like that. I plan on doing more lectures, and once the COVID clears, I'll work with John and maybe do some online lectures. Thank you, John. And that's about it. There's a lot of history out here, and it deserves to be remembered. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. I'm going to turn the program over to Dennis Tomczyk, our Burgess, and he's going to cover a couple issues that have been.
I really just have one primary issue / announcement to make, is that given the guidelines being issued by the state of Connecticut regarding public gatherings, that we have decided to not accept any applications for weddings on the Bluffs until the COVID crisis has passed and such gatherings are once again acceptable. So that'll be pending the state of Connecticut guidelines expanding to the point where weddings such as that are allowed. There were a couple of other times people reached out to the LIA in support, asking for our support in talking to the town of Stratford regarding reports of excessive noise and illegal parking in the area of the seawall. And through the efforts of Hans writing a letter to the mayor and other town officials, we've been assured and have actually seen that the police department has brought in additional manpower. I believe it's Friday through Sunday. They have a parking enforcement officer who comes around and makes sure that people aren't parked illegally. And other than that, just kind of staying on top of things. Some no parking signs that had been removed, I assume as part of the paving process along Park Boulevard, we've been assured will be replaced as well. And that basically is it.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Does anyone else on the board have anything they'd like to add that fell through the cracks? This is our first attempt in a Zoom meeting, so we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants here. Does anybody have anything else to add?
I think that covers just about everything, Jim.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think on behalf of the Board of Governors and the many people in Lordship who have made contributions, we appeal to our fellow neighbors to join in and to make a contribution, be part of our beautification and environment preservation efforts. In order to do so, we sent out a mailing to every household. But now that John has reactivated our website, you can not only get our address if you want to write a check, but you can use PayPal. And it's pretty easy to do. Right now, again, we're at about 10% of all the households in Lordship. And imagine if we could get 20% or 25%, let alone 50%, we would put it all toward beautification and environment. It would really enhance this beautiful waterfront community. So on behalf of everyone, we appeal to all of you to get involved. Also, there's so many volunteer opportunities. If you want to get involved in any way, I think John will have an opportunity for you to sign up or to go to our monthly meetings. And we all are welcome. We're in this together. So please get involved and please be part of our efforts.
Okay, thank you, Susan. Tom, did you have something else to add? Oh, I'm sorry. It sounded, I thought you had said something.
I
With that,
just mentioned that we're having the bands on the bluffs, and the Fathers Club and the LIA have worked with the town, and that's all been approved with the town, the concerts.
Great. Okay, I think that's a wrap.
Okay, move to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So
Okay.
long, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Okay.
you, neighbors. Thank you, board.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. Bye-bye.
Thanks, John.